Okay, in this rando wrap, it didn't go as amazing as usual because I kind of made a mistake early on. So let's go ahead and watch and I'll show you what happened. Of course, we're going in with the usual name. We have Stellar Saturn as the sprite and we found Red Boomerang on Stumpy. Let's go farther, boom. Heading right into Thieves Town where we find our first sword, hell yeah. Walk on through and we find a Blunick, which is nice at the beginning of an inverted world seed. Which, by the way, that's what we're in for today. This is Inverted World with Shuffled Boss. And even though the bosses were shuffled, I still had blinds on vanilla. I didn't have to bring the maiden over there, and I only tried blinds once because even with the Blunick, I'm not going to do that well. But hey, look it, I got 2 bottles and a glove, so we keep on going. One thing I've learned about Inverted is that you have to really try and find bombs early and money early. Hey, look, a lantern in Skull Woods. Another thing these settings tend to give me is early access to the light world, considering that navigating the dark world, you need a lot of items. But anyway, I go through the mountain. When I go through the Tower of Hera entrance, it brings me into Aghanim's tower. But here's me doing the Aghanim fight so I can get to the light world. Once I get to the light world, I will be in my bunny form because I haven't found my pearl yet. So we're gonna finish this Aghanim fight. It's going a long time. I think it's the swords that make it take longer. I don't know. Is that a true thing? Somebody tell me. In addition to being a bunny in the light world until I find my pearl, the mirror is also gonna take me from the light world to the dark world instead. The sick kid gives me a shovel, which is only 1 check, but the thing is, if I really need to, I can dig for stuff. Also, yay, I bought another power glove. Bring the frog back to the light world as a gnome, and I bring the lunchbox to Gary and get my hook shot. Yes! Cool. I'm in Hookshot Cave. I got a mushroom. I saw that we got Bombos for our Turtle Rock entrance. We give blinds another go. Even with the Blunick and 5 hearts now, blinds is still very challenging. So I had a game over and I tried yet again. Every time I got a little bit better for the most part, but I did kind of give this a lot of tries. I had learned from another run not to go for a full hour. I have gone for a full hour one time and I had other checks to do. I just didn't realize it. I didn't know how to read the map tracker properly, and so I got my practice that day. And I decided I was getting my practice now. At some point soon, I am gonna learn that this fight is just beyond me at the moment. I need to get good. The practice doesn't hurt, but the script for this fight doesn't work since the bosses are shuffled, so the fight doesn't start exactly the same, where you start above blinds, or you could. So I decided to finally move on, and after this many game overs with blinds. Knowing I have a handful of checks up on the mountain, I head that way. And I found my moon pearl in the light world. Even though I was in the light world, finding my moon pearl means I needed to reload the light world in order to appear as Stellar Saturn. In Inverted, you start with hardly anything, so going into the light world opens up a ton of checks, like that flute right there. But I don't know if you guys caught that. There was a little bit of a skip of a couple chests. I just walked right by them. It was a habit. I didn't mean to. But I found my second sword over in the desert and a boomerang, so I have both my boomerangs, which is neat. A little bit of magic powder, and we head towards the castle where I find a shield. 1 shield down and several to go. We go through the light world, through the dark world, half magic in the sewers, and we give blinds yet another go. With my Blunick 8 hearts and the master swords, this fight goes so much better, especially with sword beams, so that's a crystal down. 6 more to go. I'm going with my usual 7 out of 7 crystals. And we move along to the next part where we find an ice cave. There is a fire rod. Kind of ironic, but hey, we get the Pegasus boots in the Myers shed. We go through the mountain. We go through the woods, the Skull Woods that is. I'm fighting Land Mola. So this room is just, the room is the boss. That's all there is to it. When you're in this room, it doesn't matter who you're fighting. That moth is so easy. Mathula, so easy to fight in literally any other boss room, except for maybe like, you know, the icy ones, but hey, sometimes it happens. So I didn't quite win. It was close though. I think I only had like 1 hit left. Anyway, here in the King's Tomb, we find a cape. Hey, a king in a cape. That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So I go up to Zora River. I go to Sarasala. We figure out how to swim after I went to the river with another sword in the Eastern Palace. Getting through all the light world as much as possible. There's a book behind the waterfall. I hope it's not too wet, but that gets me into the Desert Palace, which on the ledge there's my last sword. Got the butter sword. Let's go! But we got a little bit of Trinex in the desert Desert Palace, and I don't have an ice rod, so we went back to the Skullwoods to give Landmola another go. So we fight, we kill 1, we kill 2, and we are working on 3. That time it didn't go so poorly. We got another crystal. Crystal number 2, 5 to go. Here we are. With what I have going on, I'm just doing a couple of overworld checks and head to the Dark Palace. Without a hammer though, I can't get very far in there, so I head to ice instead. So this little part is a trick that I do whenever I don't have my Cane of Samaria, my red cane. So you use this bomb jump to go across and go through the ice palace. That way you can get here and the pillars are not in your way and you can push the block onto the button. So that's why I do that trick there. I do it whenever I don't have my cane. But then I'm reminded I need the hammer to get to the boss as well. So instead I clear the rest of ice and check the spoiler log because I got nothing at this point. And I left my bow, my blue cane in the well, which is a huge bummer because I needed that. Hey, did you know you can fight Helmasaur King with just bombs if you don't have a hammer? That's neato, right? So I cut it close again and I have to use my last bomb on the last mask breaking. And I am able to defeat him pretty quickly with the butter sword. I get the ether medallion, I get the crystal, and I head out. The bow I just got from the well also allows me to get way further into the Palace of Darkness where I find a French vanilla hammer, which means I can complete it. Hey, remember how I said that this boss is super easy anywhere but its own boss room? Yeah. See how easy that was? I literally defeated it with sword beams by keeping it in the corner. That got me a pendant, so it wasn't great, but the thing is, there's a lot of checks in the Palace of Darkness, so I don't regret that at all. I go back into ice now that I have a hammer, and I have a vanilla cold stare. I use every last bit of magic I have with my fire rod to get it out there and use the rest on cold stare, but then I just hit it with the butter sword, which again makes it not take very long at all. Another crystal down the hatch, but I do want to finish out ice, which now I find Bombos, of course. Ugh. Still worth it, I guess, considering that Bombos is the only medallion I need to get into anywhere today. But hey, look at that mirror out by the Tower of Hera medallion tablet thingy. As you see, I run through Turtle Rock, I run through Tower of Hera. Hey, another bottle, that's neato. Not a whole lot in here. Spike Cave has my red cane, which I do wish I found earlier. God, I really wish I grabbed that hammer. I wish I grabbed that bow. Regrets a bitch. Anyway, I'm fighting Argus in Turtle Rock, which is really an easy fight if you have a hook shot. Hook shot and sword spins. It's easy to predict where it's going to go to. I found the map and another crystal. At this point, I only have 2 crystals remaining in the Desert Palace as well as in Misery Mire, so I use that Bombos to get into Misery Mire. I find another shield, so that's kind of nice, which means some things are actually going to be reflected now. I got 1 set of Armos Knights in Misery, really easy with the bow. Got a key, don't need it. Got another crystal, on our way to our last one. I get my final shield in this fairy fountain, which is great because that one actually reflects laser beams. But I make my way through Swamp Palace. This one's pretty dense and not too hard, where I find another Landmola. With what I have, this fight is a total cakewalk. I get my green pendant and I have that in case if I need to go talk to I find my ice rod in Swamp Palace so I can go and finally fight Trinex. So the fights go pretty quickly, all things considered. Again, I have a bunch of swords, I have a tunic, I have a good shield, I have my last crystal. I'm sure by now you noticed I fought Landmola twice, but all the other bosses once. So the Light World bosses each have 2 bosses in the world if it's shuffled perfectly. Oh hey, this is a vanilla room. But since we have all of the Light World bosses in Ganon's Tower, we actually fight all of those twice. Here in Ganon's Tower, we find our last medallion, but more importantly, our silver arrows. Vitreous is on our way up the tower, and I realized a little too late, but you can actually do this fight without defeating all the little eyes if you just get on the side and start hitting him. We got the red tunic right before we fight one more Moldorm King, which is vanilla, and just like that, we are fighting Aghanim too. So this fight is actually slightly nice because you don't have to worry about the thunderbolts. You just got to position yourself in a way where you get as many hits in as possible. After that, we fall through the hole in the castle and we're on our final fight with Ganon. This fight is so much better if you have your hook shot because when you use your hook shot, you have iframes, which stands for invincibility frames. Or there's another word for it, but I might not know what it is. But yeah, you go back and forth. I was not able to do the little fire torch glitch. Basically, if you get that left torch before the right one goes out, it'll be infinite. But anyway, that was the fight, and I beat the game, even though I kind of made a huge mistake. But hey, it is what it is. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.